passionate, driven, enthusiastic, euphoric. This is who we are as entrepreneurs. But how we leverage these incredible attributes to dream and build businesses that scale and grow is what this podcast is all about. Hello, I'm attorneypreneur Josh Brown, and welcome to Franchise Euphoria.
Another episode of Franchise Euphoria. Today I'm thrilled to have on Victoria Murray. She is a senior regional director for a franchise called OpenWorks. OpenWorks is a leading national commercial cleaning and facility services company established in Phoenix, Arizona in 1983. So they've been around for quite a while. Through their franchise owners and preferred partners, OpenWorks services more than 2,500 facilities each day across the United States. They offer more than simple cleaning and maintenance. They help their customers fundamentally improve their work environment. Their services include janitorial, landscape, maintenance, pest control, handyman supply management, and much more. And today we're going to enjoy a conversation with Victoria. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Josh. I appreciate that. That was a great opening.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm really, I love having on, a franchise business that's obviously gone through the process of franchising and is a growth-minded organization, because so many people who are in the audience listening to this find themselves in the position of wanting to grow through their businesses as well. So I know you're the senior regional director for ostensibly Central Texas, but if you could take a moment and just to the best of your ability talk about how OpenWorks got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So OpenWorks started originally in Phoenix, Arizona. We still have the same founder and CEO in place that started the company, and as you said, in 1983. One of the things that I really like about OpenWorks, especially when I was looking at joining the organization, is the fact that it's still privately held by the individual who started it. Although we are large and we do have, those customers that you mentioned, and we are doing business, franchise business in over 10 states at this point, it's still privately held. So we do make those personal business decisions that would ultimately benefit not only OpenWorks, but our franchisees, rather than being, a publicly traded company or a master franchise. So I know when Eric was first starting the organization, he was really intrigued by the idea of franchising and identified commercial cleaning as a huge industry that was under the radar at that time. As I mentioned, from Arizona, we actually expanded to Seattle, Washington. That is our second largest market. And now, obviously, we're a national organization with over 350 franchisees in 10 states, which includes, California, Arizona, Texas, Illinois, Florida, Georgia. And then we've recently expanded. Our newest markets are in Charlotte, Miami, DC, and New Jersey, New York, which I'm very excited about. Expanding into those markets.
So how did you find out about the company?
So I was looking for a new opportunity here in the Austin market, which is where I live. And I came across OpenWorks. It was a brand new market for them. And I really loved that the company was expanding and that it was something that we were able to build from the ground up. So I've been with the organization for just over a year now. And even since I've started, we've now grown with, 5 or 6 new markets, even in the last year. So I really love the expansive growth. So when I came across OpenWorks, it was just an opportunity I really wanted to jump on.
Well, it's interesting because, I've worked with janitorial companies, franchisors, and I'm very familiar with the market. For those out there, though, it seems like what OpenWorks does is you guys go beyond that. Can you talk about what are the opportunities with OpenWorks?
Yes, absolutely. So there are a few things that set us apart. I mean, obviously there are tons of franchise opportunities out there. What I really think that sets OpenWorks apart from other commercial cleaning franchises is that OpenWorks provides its franchisees with customers, meaning that they're not required to sell or find their own business, which is a huge differentiator. when looking at opportunities, because I think when franchisees look at opening their own business, one of the top concerns for them is, how do I build my revenue and client base? So that's a fear. That's a real fear, obviously. And since we do have a full-time sales team in every market that we represent, it allows our franchise partners to focus on what's important in their organization, which is the quality of their service, while we can handle the back-end work for them. I also think that a great opportunity for people who are looking into the franchise is that we do have a relatively low cost of entry to purchase the franchise. And lastly, support and structure, right? So we provide training and the equipment necessary to service all of the accounts. And we also offer the back-end support that can help our franchisees really scale their business as far as growth is concerned. We provide them with a proven business model where there's 5 different stages of growth that we can help them ultimately achieve if that's what their goal is. So it allows them to keep their accounts clean and build great relationships with their customers, which is ultimately what's most important to their personal business.
Yeah, so it's interesting because, in finding the customers, obviously I think that's going to be attractive to a lot of people. When you guys look for a owner operator to come in as a franchisee, do they typically, are the business owners the ones also doing the services, or how what's the structure typically set up with your franchisees in terms of the owner operator comes in, becomes a part of the franchise system? Do they then hire their own either independent contractors or employees to then go do a lot of the cleanings, or is a lot of it the owner operators themselves who are in there doing that?
Well, that's a great question. OpenWorks, we do provide multiple starting points to appeal to those who are at different phases in their own building of their business, right? So many of the franchisees who come to OpenWorks are completely new to the industry, which is, I think, one of the strong points of OpenWorks and a testament to how well we help train and develop those entrepreneurs, because being completely new to the industry, obviously there are, learning curves involved there. And so many of them do begin as owner operators because of the low cost of entry. However, as they continue to grow and move through those phases, we do give them support in what's called Business Works, which is one of our 3 trainings that we provide to them. And Business Works helps them focus on how to train and develop their right-hand person so that they can continue to grow and move into more of the managerial aspect of their organization. However, with our different starting points, we do offer a wide variety where maybe someone who already owns a small commercial cleaning company who's just really looking to take it to the next level, maybe who has employees, they can also join as a franchise partner. And because there's no selling required, which is often why they're looking for help, they're able to grow quite quickly as well. So it really depends on the point of entry that they choose upon beginning. But because of our complex training, when somebody joins us, they can be completely new to commercial cleaning or have, 10 to 15 years in the business already.
And so, I said in the opening that there's 2,500, you guys have 2,500 facilities, and I think you had indicated there's about 300 or 350 that are franchised at this point. Is that right?
No. So those are buildings, right? Customers that we support. And then the 350, we have over 350 franchise partners across the United States at the moment.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was confused on that for a minute. But So do you guys have because it's other preferred partners? So is the only opportunity the franchise opportunity for somebody to come in and buy and become a franchisee?
So our main opportunity is that we do specialize in commercial cleaning. However, once someone gets started in commercial cleaning and they're at a growth point where they'd like to branch into an ancillary service, so for example, landscaping or windows in particular, that's something that they can branch to have another stream of revenue coming into them. But we don't specifically franchise individuals only in, let's say, landscaping or windows or things of that nature.
But that all flows through the OpenWorks franchise. So if you're and the reason I'm asking, so I got to think a lot, people are probably wondering these. You probably get asked these questions all the time. So, but the idea is, I think it's always instructive to kind of like, explain the model to people, is that if you start off and this is what's interesting about it, you start off in the janitorial side, and then obviously if you move in to these other areas that really are right there for the taking and right, because you're already doing the cleaning for the building, and so obviously there's most likely a landscaping that needs to be taken care of, and maybe there's other services, but that all flows through the franchise as well, even though it might be additional services that are added later, right?
Correct. Because we do, so OpenWorks to customers, our national integrated facility service company. So as I mentioned, the specialization is in commercial cleaning, but often we'll have customers that are satisfied with the level of care that they're receiving from OpenWorks. And so they'll ask us, hey, you guys are doing a great job in the cleaning. We'd like to have our exterior windows done once a quarter. Is that something you can handle? Or we'd like to have, our landscaping done every other week, or here's the frequency. Is that something that we can integrate for you? So those are things that OpenWorks as an organization is already selling in, which means that our franchise partners are then, yes, you're correct, are able to capitalize on, because the first person, if the customer's satisfied, the first individual that we're going to talk to is the franchise partner and say, hey, they'd love this additional service. Is that something that you're interested in getting into? And if they are, then fantastic. That's another stream of revenue that their business can branch into. So that ultimately, if they have a vision and goals of really being quite a large organization, they can have multi-service within their franchise. So we're already selling in those areas. They're just opportunities for them to grow.
Well, it's interesting because when I work with businesses and work to, turn them into a franchise or consult with them or advise them on that, one of the things I'm always talking to business owners about is what is your continuous value proposition to your franchisees? Because when people buy into a franchise system, usually they immediately recognize the value in that, here's a business that has an operations manual that has things laid out for me. But typically about a year to 2 years into that process, they kind of step back and go, okay, I know how to run this business. What else am I being provided by the franchisor? And where franchisors a lot of times I think run into problems or get sideways with their franchisees is if they don't provide that continuous value proposition where as they continue to grow, you continue to provide additional good services. And so it's interesting to me because obviously as you guys work with these customers of the franchise and look to explore those additional opportunities, I mean, that seems to me like a very valuable continuous service that you provide to these franchisees as they continue through the franchise business, which I think is really good.
Right. Yeah. And I definitely think it's unique. It's so often when somebody purchases a franchise in whatever it might be, just outside of commercial cleaning as well, it's only one particular thing that they're getting as far as that package is concerned. Right. But because there are multiple outlets in which someone can grow with us, I think, in any business, whether it's franchised or, they direct, it's on their own, the more streams of revenue and the strength that you can have within your organization, obviously, the more successful and stable your organization can be. So I do agree that the fact that we are partnering with many franchise partners in other areas as well is a definite positive and something that's unique about the OpenWorks opportunity.
So how have you, I mean, obviously, you guys are a growing franchise. You got 350. I mean, at some point, you started at, 0 and got to 350. I'm curious, and I think this would be insightful for other people who are going through the same process is, to the best that how has OpenWorks been able to grow this franchise in terms of what kind of marketing that they've done? Has it been a lot of word of mouth combined with marketing, digital marketing, social media, a combination of everything? I don't know the answer, but I'm curious sort of your thoughts on that, because a lot of times with a new franchise, as you continue to grow and as you add more franchisees, it takes time to reach that good inflection point where then now you're just getting a lot of referrals because your brand recognition is grown enough to where people start to really recognize you in certain regions, and that begets other people who are interested. But for a while, when you're trying to build to that, you don't have the benefit of that. So how is OpenWorks able to build and grow in a market where you guys aren't the first to do this kind of work?
Sure.
So how are they able to do that?
So I think there's a few things that have contributed to that success. First and foremost, finding the correct structure that was going to work for OpenWorks. As you said, there's hundreds of opportunities out there in commercial cleaning and in franchising. And finding the one that really has worked for our organization and hitting our stride, so to speak, I think has been a strong suit, because at this point, we do have a proven business model where we are able to replicate, whether we're opening, regional support offices in Austin, whether that be Charlotte or the DC area, we can replicate our success quickly in those markets, which allows us to grow. Now, what that proven business model and success looks like for our franchise partners is consistent and immediate training. So when we start, we give our franchise partners really 3 outlets. The first is called FirstWorks. It's about 20 hours of in-house training, one-on-one with one of our operations managers, going over franchise cleaning techniques, OSHA standards, cleaning chemicals, how to build relationships with the customers. The second training that we provide them is skill work. So this is in the field. It's hands-on training, so they can use the knowledge that they've learned and put it to work. There's ultimately things that are going to happen on site that we can just not cover in a classroom setting, right? And it could also include sections on, floor care or how to strip and wax, and tile scrub, et cetera. So they have this continued learning that goes on. And then lastly, business work. So business works is a training that after about 6 months or so, our franchise owners really start to capitalize on. And it's training that's designed to help them scale beyond being the owner operator that we discussed earlier. I think that we've been able to hit our stride with this growth because when we have franchise owners that join our organization, they're well-trained, they're confident, and then they simply execute and then grow. And when you have a structure and a support system that is working, obviously it can take off like wildfire from there. I also think a second perk of OpenWorks is that we have landed many national customers that we support. So many large organizations look for consolidation of vendor service. So they're looking for a commercial cleaning company that can support their warehouse in Seattle to their corporate in Austin to whatever branch they might have across the U.S. Well, because now OpenWorks has that national reach, we are able to support those offices from them, gaining larger logos, if you will, as customers. But in turn, that allows our franchise partners to really build the resume of who they do business with locally, right? Because the service here in Austin needs to be executed by a franchise partner. And so it's a win-win situation where OpenWorks is able to support these businesses nationally, and our franchise partners are really able to grow their own business resume of who they're doing work with because of that partnership. And I think through following national growth and partnerships from our customers, paired with the dangerous training of our franchise partners, it's really given us the ability to execute across the board.
That sounds really good. I mean, and the continuous trainings, I think I can't underscore how important that is and how often in the franchise world, folks fall short with that, because, people give the initial training, over a 1 week or 2 week period of time. And then that's it. And I'm always encouraging folks to think about, what's the ongoing training? I mean, this day and age where a lot of it, frankly, can be done through online trainings. Is there a component of that with what OpenWorks does, is online trainings, or is it all in person?
We do have a mixture. Usually we will do, I know specifically with SkillWorks, in most of our offices, quarterly we'll get all of our franchise partners within that region together. And there's really for two reasons. One, for the hands-on face-to-face training where we might cover a new skill. And then the second thing is also for networking, because you might be able to meet another business owner, but to know an owner in the exact same industry that you are in also builds value. So we like to have our franchise partners be able to network with each other as well. So those trainings are usually done face-to-face, and then we will give a follow-up of videos or supporting topics if they'd like to continue to learn on that section or to share with their own employees as they will if they'd like to bring that down. But I also, majority of the trainings are really regionalized as far as SkillWorks is concerned, because we also in each region have a district manager who visits the accounts for our franchisees. So once a month, they'll visit their accounts to, again, build that relationship, but also maybe see areas that we can improve or that we can strengthen that relationship. And so because we have kind of our pulse on the feedback from the customers, we're then better able to adjust what training might be necessary for our franchise partners to really be equipped to take it to the next level.
And then if you got a franchisee in a particular area that's a real go-getter and develop some of their own customers, I mean, are they rewarded for that in a different way, or how's that factored in to what National does for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you asked that, because while we do provide all the customers and there is no selling required, that certainly doesn't mean that they can't find their own customers. So there are definitely incentives and perks to finding their own customer, whether that be referral or the time that we can do the turnaround for them. We will also, once they put together their bid and how they'd like to bid on that particular business, we'll still assist them with that support. So, do you want us to help you measure that customer that you found? Or, we'll still handle the back end, so the billing and collection with them. That way they can, continue to focus on the service while we take care of the details of the operational side or on the administrative side.
Well, that sounds great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know we had obviously limited time, but I think you did a great job, explaining the whole business. It sounds like you all at OpenWorks are doing really well. For those interested to find out more, they can go to OpenWorksFranchise.com, and you can also be found at Facebook and Twitter with OpenWorks AZ. Any other contact information that you want to put out there, Victoria?
No, I think that a lot of our information is on the website, OpenWorksFranchise.com. You can also find your regional website from there as well, whether you be in Denver or Austin or Chicago, and really get to know that home market a bit better also.
Well, thank you so much. Best of luck to you.
Thanks so much, Josh. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for being with us today on the Franchise Euphoria podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go to iTunes and provide a review. Also, please remember that although Josh Brown is a licensed and practicing attorney, nothing contained in this podcast should be construed as legal advice, because it is not. The information contained in this podcast is general and educational in nature, and none of it should be relied upon as legal advice. That being said, if you have questions for Josh and would like to contact him, please email him at josh@franchiseeuphoria.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you tune in to our next weekly episode.